this came after a pursuit suspect allegedly carjacked this Jeep near Pismo Beach. But the SUV ran out of gas near Refugio Beach. That's where police say the male suspect used his gun to commandeer this box truck and kept going south.
It was reported that the speeds were in excess of 100 miles per hour at certain points in the pursuit.
About 5 miles after his second carjacking, the suspect tried to change direction by cutting across the grassy center median of the 101 to head north. As he came across the highway, investigators say he tried for a third carjacking, but his apparent target proved to be his last mistake.
An undercover narcotics officer from a Department of Justice task force was parked alongside of the road. The suspect brandished a firearm. There were a number of rounds exchanged, so it's undetermined at this point in time how the suspect died.
With signs in the air, flags waving, and cars honking. Hundreds of students at Paso Robles High School walked out of school this morning to passionately protest the immigration reform bill, but it came with a price.
They said that if we went out and did the protest, that we would get truants, all of us, and get Saturday schools, and we were all willing to do that.
These 4 students have been organizing protests over the past 4 days, marching in neighborhood parks and gathering support. But this is the first protest that put classes on the back burner.
We're all here for one cause. We all have to take the consequences, and so I'm willing to do it. And so was all the 350 people that were with us. They were willing to get suspended. They were willing to get arrested. They were willing to do anything.
We know what's going on. Even though we're young, we know what's going on. We're not ignorant,
The committee approved more than doubling the current force of Border Patrol agents. It includes provisions for millions of undocumented residents to stay in the U.S. and apply for citizenship, and also eliminate criminal penalties.
No one is served by an immigration system that allows large numbers of people to sneak across the border illegally.
These students are not alone. Across California, protests were also seen in Los Angeles. About 8,500 students took to the streets there wearing white T-shirts and waving flags. In Huntington Park, hundreds of immigrants and advocates spilled into the streets, and in Fresno, a sea of people waving signs and sporting colors. Now that the bill is gaining ground, these local girls are hoping to be a force in its failure.
And keep protesting until we know for sure this is over with. We do not want this to pass. We're going to keep going on strong, all of us together.
That's the sound of hope flying by as a pack of more than 2,200 cyclists took to the streets for the ride of their life. Everyone here is affected by HIV/AIDS in some way, whether it be because they know someone with the disease, lost a loved one to it, or even been diagnosed themselves. John Ryan was diagnosed with HIV in 1997. Today, he feels great and owes his good health to good treatment. An odd coincidence. John met a researcher who helped develop his treatment. Today, that researcher is riding beside him.
You'll meet people here who are taking the drug, and that's very satisfying, professionally and personally, to know that you're helping them every day.
Being able to ride with him and let him know, like on day one, morning one, I said, here you go, here's your pill. To be able to thank someone who helped develop it and let him know that it's helping keep me alive and to be able to thrive, doesn't get any better than that.
If you're new in town trying to get around, there's a new map on the market.
That's a map? Oh my gosh.
It's Santa Maria Centennial Map.
It is a depiction of the businesses that are within Santa Maria, people that live here in Santa Maria.
It may not help you get around town, but it does feature city hotspots and local landmarks.
This map is a commemoration of Santa Maria Centennial, because we only turn 100 once.
The Santa Maria Inn, the City Library, and City Hall, even Darren's Berries made the map.
Hey, that's key. That's key. I'm really proud of that.
Nice map. Where's our police department?
But of course, not everyone made the cut.
I would assume it'd be there, right? But she's there.
Well, who's that?
It's Evie Geiger, the clogger.
Clog crime.
Don't feel bad, Chief.
Actually, once you buy the strawberries, you won't need the police. You'd be so darn happy. No. The strawberries will do it for you.
But of course, not everyone agrees.
You can't have a Centennial Map without a police department.
But the Santa Maria PD weren't the only ones left out. Even Santa Maria landmark number 9, the Veterans Memorial Building, didn't make it on the map.
You know what? I meant to put the Vets Hall in there, and I just got so busy at the end I forgot about it.
20,000 copies of the map have been printed. One will be signed by people featured on the map, framed and given to City Hall. Another copy placed in a time capsule. And of course, the Centennial Map wouldn't be complete without an appearance by Jeannie's dog, Sparky.
We were incorporated in 1905. Our police department, we had police officers in 1905.
So it's a landmark in itself.
Yes, it is. And Sparky was nowhere to be found.
When Maricela Gutierrez plays with her children, she knows the time is precious. Like many years ago when her own mother played with Maricela and her 2 brothers.
I just always remember her just, like I said, going, helping us with schoolwork, taking us to and from school. And she was always listening to music, singing.
Maricela also knows moments like these can be taken away in an instant. When she was 9 years old, Maricela's mother moved out. 2 years later, Ophelia Sandoval was murdered, leaving behind a daughter and the future grandchildren she'd never know.
When you have a child, who do you go to? Your mother. When you need help, it's just always your mother. And I've never had the opportunity with any of my kids.
The cause of death appears to be asphyxiation.
The year was 1988. President Reagan was in office. Santa Maria's Town Center West under construction, and the city's population, still below 60,000, had dropped by 1. It happened in what was then called the Tower Hotel, on the 3rd floor, in this room. 30-year-old Ophelia Sandoval was working in the fields. To get by, she shared the room with her boyfriend and his cousin. Sometime on the morning of September 18th, someone sexually assaulted, then killed Ophelia. If anyone heard it, they didn't call police.
I went to the mortuary and they opened the box up, and there was my baby sister, dead.
Ophelia's older brother, Fidel Sandoval, remembers that September day when police had him identify the body.
Nobody could understand the feelings that I went through, and emotions and rage and pain that I wish nobody would go through.
Police interviewed more than 70 people looking for anything that might lead them to the killer. The boyfriend had been working and had a strong alibi, as did his cousin who shared the room.
But there was a man who lived 2 doors away. He says on that morning he was on these stairs in the back of the hotel taking out the garbage. When he got to the back door of the 3rd floor hallway, he saw a man who appeared to be leaving Ophelia's room, but he was too far away to make a positive identification. So with no witnesses, no solid leads, the case went nowhere for 11 years.
Until Santa Maria police got a call from the Department of Justice in 1999. Advances in DNA technology spurred the feds to ask agencies around the country for samples from unsolved sex crimes. Some 4 years later, the results came back. There were 2 sources of DNA on Ophelia's body.
One was identified as being the boyfriend, and then the other was from an unknown male.
Detective Jim Hammond took over the case last year. Since then, the Santa Maria PD veteran has been able to use the DNA results to clear the boyfriend, his cousin, that neighbor 2 doors away, and a potential suspect on the 2nd floor. Yet it's the DNA that will ultimately link the mystery person to the crime. Despite the amount of time that has passed and lack of witnesses, Detective Hammond is optimistic the case can be solved. In fact, he said the killer may be one of the 70 people already interviewed by police.
I believe it's someone she knew, and at that time may not have been particularly afraid of that person and allowed him into the room.
Since that call from the Department of Justice, Ophelia's case file has doubled in size.
Cross-reference.
At the same time, Ophelia's daughter Maricela has started her own file on her mother's death, filled with dates, names, and newspaper clippings. A meticulous exercise, partly to help her come to terms with something so horrible, but also to one day deliver justice for a mother taken far too soon.
Somebody out there knows. A couple of people might know. It's just everybody's either afraid or just don't think it'll make a difference, but it would make the world a difference to me.